Sorry, can you hear the ice cream man? And he stopped. Nope, he hasn't. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Emma, and today I'm going to be doing a video. It's the second part in the series, so if you haven't already seen the first part, go and watch that first, or maybe you're just interested in this part. In the last video, I was sort of talking about the transition from school to university, and in this part, we're going to be looking closer at the transition from university to the real working world. For any of you that don't know, I am a recent Cambridge University graduate with a degree in English, and I've recently started a communications role, all been working remotely obviously because of the pandemic, but I just like to sort of talk about my experience of moving from university to work. Obviously it differs from person to person and depending on the kind of work you go into, so I can only speak for myself and maybe people in similar industries and jobs to me, but yeah, disclaimer, this is just my experience. Like the last video, I'm going to break it up into different categories so we can sort of compare between university and work and see how things have changed directly. So the first category in that list is time. So I might have mentioned in my last video that university, you sort of have a lot more free time than you're used to. You structure your own time. You might work weekends. You might work late. I had friends that like to work at like 3 o'clock in the morning in the library, which as I've said is just not me, but that might be you. Work is quite different. When you start a job, you're probably going to be working 9 till 5. That's sort of the standard time that most people work. In my job, it's 9 till 5:30, and some jobs are a little more flexible either side, but for the most part, it's going to be 9 to 5. And on top of that, you get weekends off. Now, you guys, I studied at Cambridge. You've all heard what it might be like. You've all heard the rumours, and it is true. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress. And I can't remember the last weekend I had off before starting my job. By God, it was a blessing. I love work so much because I know it's just 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and I have my Saturdays and Sundays to do whatever I want. I have my evenings to do whatever I want. When I was at university, I would get up at about 7:30 or something. I'd start working at 8:30. I might have a couple of lectures in the morning, come back, do independent study, research for essays, write essays, sit in the library. Obviously, I had a couple of societies and things on. I might meet up with friends, but for the most part, it was a very full day at about 8:30 in the morning till 8:30 at night, or at least they're the hours that I chose to work. Some people, it can be a lot later, but those were the hours I sort of said to myself, make sure you start at 8:30 and never work past 8:30. I can't work very well late at night. But at work, in the real world, 9 to 5 is so great. I mean, a lot of graduates tend to speak about having to work later than that because obviously it's their first job and they're new and they're trying to impress, and you know, you might say, yes, I can take on extra work, and yes, I don't mind working later shifts. But from my experience, that hasn't really happened a lot. It has been very much 9 till 5:30 and evenings free, weekends free. I'm not sure there's really any much more to add to that other than I definitely do feel like I have a lot more time to do things that I enjoy, like starting this YouTube channel or going for exercise or, you know, anything, going for walks, spending time with my family. In my last vlog, I was playing on my VR headset, things like that. I do just have a lot more time to do the things I didn't have time to do when I was at university. The only downside of that, of course, is when I'm working Monday to Friday and it just so happens that it's glorious sunshine through the week and then Saturday and Sunday it's raining, there's not really much I can do about that. Whereas at university, I could have said, oh, it's a Tuesday, but it's really sunny today. I'll take Tuesday as my weekend day instead and work a little bit less than I normally would, and then maybe have a harder working day on Saturday instead. So you can't really have that flexibility at work, though my company have been quite good and they've said, if you want to take longer lunch breaks, if you want to start earlier and finish earlier, or start later, finish later, things like that, you can do it as long as you tell your manager or ask permission first, or let the people in your team know that they're the hours you're working. But yeah, if it is a good day, I just have to sit inside at my desk and cry while I watch everyone outside having fun. So category number 2 is what I'm going to call transferable skills. I'm sure you've all heard the word transferable skills thrown at you throughout secondary school, throughout your university life, in your careers meetings, in job interviews. You know, you might get asked, what transferable skills have you learned? Or what skills have you learned at university that are relevant for the real world? And you might be thinking, this is a load of rubbish. Like, I did a degree in English and I thought my degree is never going to be relevant for the real world unless I want to be an English teacher or stay in academia. Doing an English degree, I didn't think would be super useful for work. I looked at my peers who were doing degrees like medicine or accounting, and I thought, great, you're going to have a job lined up to go into straight after that because you know what you want to do. And all through my degree, I thought, I'm doing English, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And you know, your family say, oh, have you looked into jobs yet? I bet you want to be an English teacher. And I'm like, huh, never heard that one before. But I could tell you now, you definitely learn a lot of transferable skills from your degree that you will bring into the working world. And I was shocked, you're going to be shocked to hear it, and you'll probably be shocked to learn it when you start your own job too. But transferable skills are real and relevant. I learned so many things about communication, about how to express myself verbally, about how to write well, about how to communicate with colleagues and deal with clients and just hold myself maturely in a working world and be responsible. Time management, organisation, all of that are so relevant in a job. They're so relevant. I use those skills on a daily basis, and I think if anything, they're the most important things that I've taken away from my degree. So category number 3 is responsibility, and it sort of springboards from that idea of skills. But I find that in work, I'm a lot more responsible for people other than myself. So university, only you are responsible for you, right? If I don't hand in an essay, my supervisor isn't going to chase me. That's on me. It's only me that's affecting, unless obviously you're doing a group project or something. But if I don't hand in an essay or I don't revise for an exam, only I will feel the effect of that. Only I will fail. Only my grades will turn out badly, or my supervisors will be disappointed in me, or I'll be disappointed in me. But at work, you have a lot more responsibility for other people around you, for work. Not just your own work is in to get your work done, but that work is for somebody else. If you're working in a client-facing job, or it might reflect on your team or on your manager or on your company if something goes wrong. And you need to understand that your actions have an impact on others. And that responsibility is so scary at first. I remember sending my first client email and like reading it 100 times, sending it to my colleagues, like, can you just check that this sounds polite, that I haven't missed anything? Oh, I remember once I replied to a client email and called him by the wrong name. And to this day, it still eats me up. He probably didn't even notice. He probably didn't even realise. He probably accepted it was an accident and it happens all the time. But I just wanted the earth to swallow me whole. These things happen, but that's what I mean about responsibility. Like, you need to double check those things. You need to make sure you're communicating with the right people. You need to take responsibility for your work and your timeline. And if you don't know, just ask. Everyone is happy to help in the working world. Like, if you really don't understand what you're doing, then that's fine. You have people around you to guide you for that reason, which is why it makes it sort of easier transitioning from university to work, because you know that your colleagues and your managers and things, they don't expect you to have the world's worth of knowledge about whatever job you're going into. They understand you've come from a degree that might not directly relate to this job role, but that's the whole reason you get an entry-level job or a graduate scheme, because they can train you in this job. They don't expect you to know everything. And also in terms of responsibility, weirdly enough, you also have less responsibility. So on the one hand, you're very responsible for all the things you need to do, and on the other, less so. Which might sound confusing to you, but what I mean by this is, while you have a lot more responsibility for the work and the tasks that you're being assigned, you are being managed, as I've said. Someone else will be overlooking you to make sure you're held accountable for the things you do. And that's something I found really difficult moving from university to work. I was so used to, at university, having a list of all the tasks I need to get done and managing my time myself. And I really like that. I like that responsibility. I like self-management. I like to say, this essay is due on Sunday. I'll spend Monday, Tuesday reading essays. I'll spend Wednesday, Thursday planning it, reading secondary material or primary texts or whatever, or the other way around. Friday, I'll write the essay, and then Saturday, I'll double check it before handing it in. And I like doing that. At work, every morning, I will log into work, and my team and I will jump on a 9:30 a.m. call with our manager, and she will tell us what we're doing for that day. Which obviously that's her job. She's been there a lot longer than me, so she knows a lot more than I do, and she knows how to manage people better than I do. But I miss the self-management. And it is difficult at first to get used to being told what to do when you're so used to doing that yourself and not having someone to tell you what to do. So you might find that difficult moving from university to work. But I suppose the longer you're there, the more you slip into a routine, and your manager doesn't need to tell you what to do anymore because they trust that you're responsible enough to do it yourself. Obviously, they'll need to say, can you just tell me what you're spending today doing, to check that you're getting all your tasks done. But then for the most part, they will start to just leave you alone, which is what I've experienced the longer I've been at my company for. And I've been there, I think, about 9 months now. Obviously, I have a lot more responsibility than I did in month 1. So yeah, responsibility, you have more and you have less, weirdly enough. So category number 4 is about learning, and the idea is that you are retraining or relearning a new skill. So obviously when you go to university, it's likely that you'll be studying a subject you studied at school. For me, I studied English all the way through school, and then I continued to do that at university. And even if you're not doing that and you're studying a subject like medicine, for example, you will have done science and maths at school, which will sort of feed into that degree. Yet when it comes to work, you're retraining or relearning a completely new skill. As I've said, those transferable skills are still relevant here, but you might be learning something that you've never even learnt before. In my case, I didn't even know my job role existed, so I had to learn a whole new job, essentially. Obviously, I had some experience in some of the software we use, I had some experience in the communication style, but I didn't know what I was doing when I first joined, and that's okay. Chances are you won't know what you're doing, and everybody else is starting in an entry-level role as well. So the whole point is that they can train you up from scratch and they can teach you what to do, and they don't expect you to know everything. They know what your skill set is, and that's the reason they advertise it as entry-level or graduate job. They have a scheme in place to train someone like you because they know that you've never done this job before, or it might be your first job as well. So don't worry about that in terms of moving from university to work. Like, your company are there to train you into what they need from you and to bring out the best in you from the skills you already have and the knowledge you already have. Number 5, it's kind of linked to time, but let's go with tasks. I've already briefly touched on how I used to structure my time at university, but when I was there, I was used to a weekly routine, I'd say. I knew in the first half of the week I had most of my lectures, maybe in the middle of the week I'd have classes with my professors, and I knew I'd start my week by reading primary texts. Midweek, I'd be reading critical essays. End of the week, I'd be planning and writing my essay and submitting it. And then that week would repeat again and again and again. And that was how my whole university life went from year 1 to year 3, all the way through. It was a very similar weekly structure. And I liked having that foresight at the start of the week, in a way. I knew what I had to get done by the end, and I could foresee all of that, and I could plan all of that in my schedule, and I knew what I'd be doing each day from the very start of the week. At work, in my experience, it's been very different to that. We work more on a daily task basis, unless we get a huge project coming in like I'm doing at the minute, which is sort of week by week. But for the most part, we do work daily, which means obviously we need to hop on these morning calls because we might have had new projects in overnight. So if a client gets in touch with us during the night and then we wake up to new emails, we need to hop onto that. So I might not know the work I'm doing until I log on that morning, which can be a bit stressful, can make me feel a little bit sick sometimes, not knowing what I'm logging into that morning. There have been mornings where I thought, oh, today's going to be really chill. Like, I know I've had all my tasks done. I just need to tweak a little bit something here and message this person there. And I've logged on to hundreds of emails and I'm like, when did this happen? Oh no, this is not what I expected. But you just get used to that daily workflow instead. And you have to get used to adapting quickly and, you know, finding out new tasks on the go and just changing as you go. Or I might start on a task and somebody from another team might say, my deadline's sooner than yours, can you please jump onto this and help me with it? And I'll just have to say, yes, like, I understand that's more pressing at the minute, I'll jump onto that. Sorry, can you hear the ice cream man? And he stopped. Nope, he hasn't. So yeah, I'll be given a set of tasks to do by my manager that morning, or they might just feed in throughout the day, and I'll just have to get used to that. And that's something that's been quite different as well. So number 6, exams. Chances are you never have to sit another exam ever again. Some of you might go into professions where you need to keep sitting exams. I think law, or some of you watch Page, obviously, actuarial studies, and maybe medicine and veterinary, you need to keep training, I'm not sure. but for the most part, you don't have to do exams again. And it is great knowing that I never have to do this. Obviously, you might do learning courses or training courses or team building courses and things, but it's never sort of a sit down for 3 hours in a hall with an invigilator, stressed to hell, revising for months, and you'll lose your job unless you pass. Like, that is not the case, and you're never going to have to do that again, depending on the profession you go into. So that's all of my categories done now, but I'd just like to quickly add that the jump from university to work isn't huge. It's not terrifying. As someone who hadn't really worked before this job I'm in now, this is my first real job. I'd obviously done a little bit of volunteering here and there when I was younger, but this was my first real job. And I didn't know what to expect. I was really scared. I used to look up, YouTube, jump from university to work. What is working like? And I couldn't really find anything. So I hope this can be a useful resource to you, a small insight into what it's like. But in terms of the overall jump, it's not huge. It was actually felt like a step back for me. It felt less stressful for me. If I were to form an opinion, I prefer work. I love the free time. I love the weekends off. I love that it's less stressful. University was a very stressful experience for me. I loved it, don't get me wrong. I loved studying at Cambridge, but it was stressful. And this, by comparison, is a walk in the park. Obviously, we do have stressful days, we have calmer days, like any job, but I do prefer having the 9 to 5, having the weekends, and knowing when I switch my laptop off, that's me done. I hope you found this insightful. I hope it's been somewhat useful if some of you are a little bit worried about moving from university to work. But let me reassure you, I love it and it is great. And I wish you all the best of luck, whatever you're doing. I hope whenever you come to starting work, I don't know what time period my viewers are going to be in by the time they reach this video. COVID might have passed. That might be in the history textbooks by now, and you might not even understand what I'm saying when I say, I hope you aren't starting remotely. I hope you do get to go into an office. That would be really nice. I hope I'll get to meet my colleagues in person soon, or at least see what an office might be like at some point. But for now, everybody who is applying for jobs or is about to finish university or knows they have a job lined up, best of luck. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Let me know in the comments if you're about to start a job or you've just started a job, and tell me how you're feeling, and we can all sort of reassure each other and share our experiences. Thanks, guys. Bye.